For anyone that's seen my previous video, I wanted to say thank you for watching. I really appreciate the support, truly. This time around, I wanted to do a bit of a shorter video, so I figured I'd just focus on the East Blue Saga, and it helps that a lot of what I would have said here is in the first video anyway. Any future arc I do though, I will have a lot more to say. For anyone who has only seen the live action, there are spoilers here as the arcs are different, and I do cover an arc not yet adapted, Loguetown. Getting into it, I'm honestly glad I watched the live action first, because I found this hard to get through, mainly due to the characters themselves, and I feel that if I watched this instead, I would have absolutely lost any interest in the show. Most anime I give 3 to 8 episodes depending on how long the season is. It usually gives the anime enough time to hook me in, especially if it's a slow burner, but I couldn't apply this here as it's like 61 episodes long. And honestly, by the 10th episode, I wasn't that impressed. However, I pushed through it, and it helped that this saga is actually quite different in some story aspects. It made watching it a lot more enjoyable, getting to see how different it was in comparison to the live action, and seeing all the cool scenes I missed out on. I won't go in depth, but I'll bring up a few points as I cover the characters, and speaking of such, I really struggled with the characters here. They were quite different compared to the live action counterparts as their personalities were amplified, for better and for worse. Luffy in the anime was really annoying, rude, and obnoxious. He felt very self-centered and mean to the people around him. A good example is Koby at the start. For me, this made it hard to watch the anime. If I don't like the protagonist, I have no reason to continue watching. And it didn't help that I really disliked him for the entire East Blue Saga. It wasn't until the later sagas like Alabasta and Water 7. It was those when I started to like him a lot. Nami was a lot more enjoyable. She was a lot more fun and charming. I really enjoyed seeing her strategic and independent side. It was especially great seeing her get along with the crew. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed her here. She wasn't a favorite, but she was definitely one of the characters I kept tuning in back for. I think it also helped having seen her character arc in the live action, so going into the anime from the start, I understood her intentions better. Usopp was way more interesting. His fighting scenes with him using his traps and his lies to gain the upper hand were fantastic. Something sorely missed from the live action. I did like his interactions with the Straw Hats here way more. The chemistry was fantastic and he was extremely hilarious. Sadly, I also found him way more annoying and cowardly. Like Luffy, I struggled to like him for a while. Thankfully, the later arcs Alabasta and Water 7 helped a ton. Zoro, I found, was way more interesting here. His personality was a lot more charming, he was more funny and lighthearted, and it really made the times he became serious way more intense because you knew stuff was about to go down. As for Sanji, I got a very good comment in my previous video from a user called Too Much Carbs. He said, "Dude, I'm curious how you felt about the whiplash of live action Sanji versus manga anime Sanji. I thought you would have immediately hated him because of the difference between shows, and you stating distaste of simp characters." I thought about this for a while. It is way more intense than the live action, but I gotta be honest, I love him way more here. At first, it was a weird coincidence that when I thought a character was cute or attractive, Sanji would pop up at the same time and express the same opinion. But then it happened again and again, and every time it made me smile. I couldn't stop laughing, and once again, that is why it works so well for Sanji. Just like Captain Jack Harkness, it's comedic, and now for me, it's extremely relatable. And the cringy way he flirts, the way he goes up to do his own thing, and the smaller things we have in common, such as how we can only see out of one eye properly, we both prefer using our legs to fight over hands, so we both love cooking. I mean, I even get random nosebleeds. He sounds just like me. I have never related to a character so damn hard before. He's such a fantastic character, and the dynamic he has with the other characters is also fantastic. Nami would use his flirtatious nature to her advantage, and Zoro would make fun of him constantly. Absolutely brilliant. Now then, for the arcs themselves, I like them better than the live action, but more so how they set up characters meeting and giving other characters more prominent roles. I prefer how Zoro and Luffy meet here in the Romance Dawn arc than in the live action version. The way Rika was treated by being thrown over the fence in response to giving Zoro food here is a detail I wish was in the show because it gives a better look at how corrupt the Marines at Shelltown are. Which is shown even more with Morgan having more of a role here than just being the guy they beat up. I mean, he even gets more interaction with his son Helmeppo here. Morgan just seems like a tough marine in the live action, but here, he is way more egotistical and ruthless. And the extra details in Luffy's backstory involving the other characters helped a lot. I wish more of the personality Shanks Pirates had here was in the live action, and the same for the villagers, the mayor and Makino especially. I prefer how Nami met Luffy in the Orangetown arc, and I actually like this version way more than the live action. It just seemed way more interesting. Especially with the plot points such as the Grand Line map Nami steals being from Buggy instead of the Marine base. This won't make much sense until the later arcs, but it makes way more sense that Buggy would have the map than the Marines. Also, I liked how Buggy took over a town rather than just starting up a circus, and that backstory with the dog ruined me. I actually find that Usopp got let down in the live action in his Syrup Village arc. He had a whole scene of him fighting back against the Kuro pirates which we never got to see, which honestly is extremely weird because I feel like it's a pivotal moment of his character. It turns his first lie, being a pirate, into reality. It also removed the scene showing Usopp and Nami fighting together, which sucks because they already both get barely any fighting scenes in the live action. The scene alone should have been kept in at least. It shows how well they work together, they can hold themselves in a fight without needing the strongest Straw Hats there. And I'm disappointed that they skipped out on Kuro's backstory. It adds depth to the pirates, showing how far some are willing to go to pull off a plan. I'm also still butthurt that Gaiman wasn't in the live action. It was really nice seeing how different the Baratie arc was with Don Krieg being the villain rather than Arlong and Mihawk. And the difference in personality Zeff had, as he was way more hard and tough on Sanji to the point of him actively trying to get him out the Baratie so he would go after his dream. The arc had more details on Sanji's backstory that I wish was included in the live action, such as Sanji being against eating leftovers and being told that as a pirate, you won't know when you have food. And more importantly, the fact that the crew Sanji is with mocks him for his dream. I feel like that is an important detail that should have been left out because it makes it even more wholesome that Zeff, the pirate that tried to attack his ship, actually believed him and respected him for his dream. I also really like the dynamic Sanji had with the staff here, and the farewell scene I feel is leagues better than the one in the live action. That feels anticlimactic. And Arlong Park itself, we really missed out on a ton here in the live action. Hachi and his awesome fight scene with Zoro, Luffy being stuck in a rock, thrown into the ocean, leaving Sanji to dive in and save him, and ending up having to fight a fishman at the same time. The more detailed backstory of Belle-Mère, young Nami, her sister, and the village. And two important scenes that I felt should have been kept in. Nami tricking the fishman by stabbing herself instead of Usopp. I felt this was an important detail that should have been kept in as it shows that she does care about the crew and doesn't want them harmed. And Nami robbing the village after she saved them on her way to join the Straw Hats. Showing the village, her family, that she is going to be just fine, her usual self, safe, happy, and with friends. I also think leaving Loguetown out was a bad idea. It's a great epilogue to the East Blue Saga. It gives you time to relax with the crew after everything they've been through, we get to see more of their new dynamic, and more importantly, it sets the stage for the show itself. Luffy nearly being executed was a fantastic scene, especially how he takes his death in stride and apologizes to his crew. Then we see this mysterious man called Dragon coming in to save him, while using these weird Devil Fruit-esque powers. And then we get to see Smoker with his Smoke Devil Fruit, showing not just how insane they can get, but how Luffy isn't always able to hit them back. All of this information is not just important, but the perfect hook to keep your eyes open for Season 2. Right now, Season 1 ends on a nice ending, yeah, but there isn't that much making you want to come back, outside of a small scene with Smoker that's barely anything at all, and a tease of Alvida and Buggy teaming up. Now, that isn't to say that this is a bad ending. I just feel like if you have the perfect way to introduce the viewer to the world of One Piece, this live action, wouldn't you want to give them the best hook you can give them? I'm glad we're getting Loguetown in Season 2, don't get me wrong, but with how much longer the Alabasta arc is, I kinda would've preferred to keep that episode Loguetown is taking up to Alabasta. Don't get me wrong, I love the live action, and I still stand by that it's the best way to get into the show itself. But I do wish we had all of this in the live action. There are so many cool parts left out, and I do know that some of this was meant to be in, such as Hachi and the underwater fight scene Sanji had, but it still sucks. I just hope Season 2 doesn't cut out that much content. While I didn't get that much enjoyment from the East Blue Saga on my first watch, I still had tons of fun watching the saga, and it was worth it for everything that came after. And while the characters did take time to get used to, by the end of Loguetown, it really felt like I understood them better and their quirks. I'm happy I didn't like all of the characters at the start. The character development they've all gotten since then has been the thing that keeps me coming back. I may have hated Luffy, but now I love the guy. Usopp might have been annoying and cowardly, but now I love the guy. Zoro, Nami, and Sanji, I love every single one of them. I've been reading the manga, more specifically Little Garden, Drum Island, and my personal favorite, Long Ring Long Land, and I've enjoyed going back to them and seeing what I've missed, what I can take away with the new context I've been given after all these years. And at some point, I'll think I'll do the East Blue Saga. It'd be nice to see if my opinion has changed, see if I like it a lot more than my first time. If I missed anything or you want my opinion on something, please let me know. I think it'd be fun for future videos to have a QA section dedicated to going over stuff I missed, because there is a lot of One Piece, so stuff tends to get blurred together. This channel is something I'm taking seriously, and I want to say that this is not going to be a One Piece focused channel. However, that doesn't mean there won't be any One Piece videos. Let me know if you like how I've handled this video specifically. I would love to do something similar with the future story arcs instead of doing a deep dive recap thing. It worked fine for the live action, but it's been so long since I've seen this version of the East Blue, it's all so unfamiliar, and researching it to the depth I did with the live action video would have made this an impossible task. Once again, thank you all for the support. I'll catch you lot next time.